Hey guys, before we get started, once again, if you're looking for Caster Chronicles singles or sealed product, be sure to click the link in the description below for Happy Little Hug Factory. They carry Caster Chronicles product and singles. It's really awesome. It'd be great to support them for supporting this game. And make sure you click the link in the description below so they know we sent you. And yeah, we'll get into the video. Hey guys, how's it going? So we got our last video as far as this specific deck profile series. And so we had our mono orange and mono yellow. So now this is the final deck, which combines both of those decks into one. So I'll show you what to sort of made the cut and briefly explain why, depending on what it is. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and get right into it. So we'll start with the casters. So what we kept from the orange deck was Nebula Solau. Just a great effect. Like I said, we still run that one conjure. And plus, if she's discarded, it's just good to be able to play her from the graveyard. We still have Monostyla. It just works against so many decks and is versatile enough that it's just good to have her. Once again, two of her. We kept a couple of the Sunny, not all of them. Is draw a card if an enemy discarded a card this turn. We still run discards instead of this deck, so that combo off works good, especially with the draw power, which now combos with some of the yellow cards and casters and different things like that. So that works really well in conjunction together. But now we only run two of them. And we still run our two level 2 orange Pekos and two level 2 or level 1 orange Pekos. So we still got our very pretty set there. And in case you guys are counting, we do run an even split of 9 and 9 for the casters, which might be a little bit high. Some people might argue, but it's my personal preference. So we got 3 Rafina So still, recover target level 1 caster. This ability is even stronger now because of the new level 1 casters we have, being able to draw an extra card, for example, to put an extra servant on the bottom of someone's deck, or to grab another level 1 sweets from your graveyard and put it into your hand. Different things like that. This card is able to do a lot more inside of this deck, I think. Next, we have Luna Esperanza. Draw a card if you discard a card this turn. We still have discard power, or not discard power, but we still run servants and stuff that have that effect happen, as well as your opponent will probably have effects that make you discard a card as well. We still run the one Twinkle Charm. Draw a card if you drew a card by the effect of a conjure this turn. We have conjures that allow us to draw a card, so still good to have that. And lastly, we run the 2 Ruka still, buffing an ally servant by the amount of cards in your hand, and the level 2 of that does basically the same thing, as well as give you extra draw power. So that's the casters, pretty straightforward. A lot of them you might have guessed based on our other deck profiles. So a lot of these work well together with each other and with conjunction with the servants. They're not usually, for the most part, with the exception of maybe Orange Peko, exclusive to their color grouping. They combo well with other cards inside of this deck. So next we have the conjures. One thing you'll notice is there's not that many conjures in this deck. The deck sort of transforms into this heavy servant deck that involves just populating the field a lot, using servants' enter effects, die effects, different things like that, basically to keep you going rather than focusing on conjures, which I think is pretty good overall. But we still run 4 Carrion Scrounge, because Carrion Scrounge is not specific to any color, and it has break. So 2 cost, put a servant with total cost 3 or less from an allied graveyard into the field. So being able to do that for either orange or yellow is really good. You could grab Ouroboros again, for example. You can still grab Zubaji and other cards that may be less than 3 cost. And it has break, which is really strong still inside of Caster Chronicles. We still have Swallow Whole, destroy target servant. If you do banish caster, that's why we still kept that caster. But still a 1 cost destruction is really good. And we got rid of some of our other destruction in favor of, since we now combined orange with yellow, yellow has those buffing powers, so we don't need the destruction as badly. So we got rid of things like the tiger and the 5 cost destruction conjure as well, because it just clutters up the deck when you have the power to just straight up destroy stuff with your servants. Next, we run 2 Lapse Memory. It's a 1 cost where you reveal your opponent's hand and they discard a conjure of your choice. Once again, just having knowledge of your opponent's hand is good, but also making them discard a conjure, whether that be Soul Bond is a big one, or something that counters your deck, is just really good card to have. And lastly, the only yellow conjure we have is Preparation. So this becomes actually, in my opinion, stronger inside of this dual color deck. Before, there's not as many good yellow servants with enter effects and stuff like that. But with this one, you could use it inside of your deck to, for example, destroy Zubaji. You grab a Zubaji from your deck, put it into the field. You get to search your deck for 1-cost sweets. And then you tap level 2 orange Peko and banish a Peko. And grab Zubaji from your graveyard and put it into the field again. And now you have the enter effect again and look for sweets and put it into your hand. So now you have 2 Zubajis onto your field for the cost of the single Zubaji, and you now have 2 extra sweets, crispy cookies in your hand. So I think that's pretty good inside of this deck, but now we'll move on to the main party, which is the servants. So we got our servants here. We'll just go ahead and start with the orange. Obviously we still run our 4 crispy cookies, vanilla 1 cost, but with all the search effects, this becomes really good for populating your field, which is a big thing. Obviously we still run 4 Zubajis, having a 3-cost 2000, 1000 that has an enter effect where you get to search for your crispy cookie, as well as also being able to bounce with your orange Peko and being able to do the combo we just talked about with preparation, etc. It's just a great card to have overall. We run, we're down to 2 Patissiers instead of 3. Still good to have a 4-cost 2000, 2000 that makes your opponent discard 2 cards. It's a really good effect and helps you stay in control. We don't have as much discard in this deck, but it's still a decent amount. Just to have enough control over your opponent so they don't spiral out of control. And last one is we run 1 7-cost Beaselborn. So having the 7-cost 4000, 4000 with double corrupt and destroying a servant, assuming you have a servant on your field to destroy as well, is still a great card to have late game if you need to get that last bit of damage in. Switching to yellow, we run 3 Ouroboros. Like I said, it's able to combo with Carry On Scrounge and other stuff. Still has Break, which is great. It's a 2000, 1000. And being able to draw a card and then discard a card is a good way to get through your deck. Maybe you can, it works with your caster effects for drawing and discarding. And also, you'd be able to look at your 2 cards and maybe put a 3-cost card, like Zubaji, into your graveyard with the intention of bringing it out with Orange Peko or Carry On and stuff like that. And same thing with Crispy Cookie. Next, we have Greedy Vase. It's a 4-cost. You run 2 of them, 2000, 4000. Whenever this card switches, goes from either reverse position to non-reverse or vice versa, you get to draw a card. So it adds to that draw power, and having a decent defensive card for 4-cost is really good and something that orange usually doesn't provide. So yellow is able to make up in that area. We run 2 Pentachi. It's good to have a cheap 1-cost yellow card in case you have a yellow caster and not an orange one and need to play something early game. So this helps with that, and also being able to look at your opponent's orbs, give you an idea of what you want to corrupt and when is always a good effect. I run 3 Usamaris. It's the 3-cost 2000, 1000 where it enters and you just straight up draw a card. So it's like Ouroboros but without the discard effect. And so, like I said, it's a trade-off because Ouroboros could set up for future things, but in case you don't want to do that, this just helps with that. And lastly, we're on 1 of the Bamanon, Source of Greed. It's the 7-cost 4000, 4000, basically like the orange one with double corrupt, except this one, when it enters the field, you put up to 2 cards from your hand face down into your orb zone. So as you guys might have seen, we got rid of pretty much all of our orb population from the yellow deck. This is one of the only carryovers. But being able to have this late game, once again, a strong card with double corrupt is really good. And being able to choose cards in your hand that you put in there is good because there's a lot of cards with break, especially now you have a choice of yellow and orange break cards that could suit whatever you are at in that stage of the game, which is really strong. But yeah, so that's our dual color deck. It uses the exact cards from the previous mono decks, and now you just combine them into there. So if you build those 2 other decks, you get a 3rd deck for free, depending on how your playstyle is, what you want to do, or if you just want to vary it up. And once again, these cards, like the other ones, are pretty easy to get. Probably even easier to get because I feel like a lot of these are a little bit of the cheaper cards, and some of them were reprinted in the new set, so they're easier to find. Things like Ouroboros and stuff. And I don't know if Greedy Vase was or not, I forget. But yeah, so let me know your guys' thought on this sort of final deck here that was combining the other decks. I'll move on now to sort of normal deck profiles, unless I come across something else that I think is cool with two different colors that combine really well into a third color. If you guys have ideas or decks you would like to see covered as well, let us know either on our Discord or in the comments below, and we'll see if it's a cool deck that we'd want to cover later on. And if there's one I had seen a while back that I want to cover that's just pure making your opponent discard stuff. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time.